to continue getting to the places you need to be. You need to be comfortable and safe in your favorite parks and trails. You need to take your loved ones to appointments and pick up groceries. We want people to know that moving to Marlee Glencairn, you'll have the choice of not only low-rise or high-rise, but options in between. This is at the core of our thinking and how we're approaching this study. We know we cannot manufacture a place, but we can provide a framework for the community and people to thrive. And we want you to be able to create those moments that only a healthy community can create. We know that Marlee Glencairn can be a fantastic place to live and grow. We want to talk more about how we can make that happen. A vibrant community with access to daily needs. We want to enhance the main pedestrian-oriented character of Marlee Avenue. This is an image just representing how we want to bring that life and vibrancy to Marlee Ave through a mixed-use scenario. We want it to be a vibrant mixed-use corridor that's dynamic and that can take shape over time. We want to improve pedestrian access to Marlee Avenue through things like and comfort through things like wider sidewalk, street tree planting, street furnishing, safer crossings for pedestrians. We want to allow for Marlee to support institutional uses, offices, and other job-generating uses. Our public realm principles have guided us in assessing and improving the public realm in Marlee Glencairn. And let's talk about how we can accomplish that. Here's your first look at the enhanced public realm plan for Marlee Glencairn. This is option 1. We want to look to expand and enhance existing parks through on or off-site parkland dedication, meaning that developers who are developing here will contribute to the enhancement or the expansion of the public realm. And what the pink arrows are pointing at with the diagonal crosshatch pattern are areas that we could potentially expand parks. Shifting to option 2, which we'll talk a little bit more about shortly, will be a slightly denser option, meaning that there'll be potentially more opportunity for parkland. So the pink arrows now are pointing to additional areas of potential parkland expansion that are above and beyond what was shown at option 1. We want to support a variety of activities and programming and play in the public realm. Some examples include community events, celebrating local culture and traditions.
Yeah, they move chairs. This is actually
I know, hold on, wait. Big way.
So, I get it. I think realistically, I understand development. I understand there's a mandate. We don't need to hear about transit. We get it. What we want to know is how are we going to fix what's here? Because what's here is a mess. And if you're just
Since they don't want nothing to change, they want to treat it like a highway.
It takes 20 minutes to build 14 houses on the sidewalks.
Thank you. And we do want to hear more from you.
But I can't sit in my house now and listen to fluff about the potential development and how we want to enhance the neighborhood. If you want to enhance the neighborhood, start with the infrastructure. Fix the alley, fix the park, widen the streets, make it so that we can move. And when we can move, we'll be open to development.
Well said.
Thank you, and recognizing I'm also a local resident, so I exactly know. So, let us finish through some of the mapping will be also relevant, the parks, the mobility is coming, and then the development. So we'll walk you through.
The streets, the traffic, all the congestion, the parks, the areas. I know that the city's sitting on Section 37 funds because they keep allowing developers to put up towers where they're supposed to be allocated green space. But you know what? In Section 37, we'll put a park zone. And those parks get built. Last time I checked, you guys were sitting on $500 million worth of funds that were supposed to go to parks that never got built for a time. Because you can't compete with the developers. Once you give them the green light, they will outbid the city on land every single time. And you will never add a park, you will never add more green space. You're gonna what? Often give us an extra 10 feet on a park. That's not in which we're gonna bring in another 15,000 around.
And you know what?
You want to fix the city first. Fix Lawrence and Allen. Because that's a nightmare. People have died in Marley and Lawrence. I don't know how many times.
Can't get out.
Exactly. And that's part of the study.
You want to community support, fix the issues that exist, and then build.
That's part of the study. And let us continue and present that component. Now, the table discussions will really get into further the planning and the phasing of how these improvements are dictated from civil and municipal. Yeah. No, you can ask questions. You can ask questions. Which part?
The park transition. The emergency to the park are, Winterton Park, all houses, the back of Winterton Park, are all just crossed off. So some of them are all those houses to extend the park.
There's a whole strategy for that, and we can walk you through that. Well, you need a strategy. So, let's bring you up to speed to all the information, and then we can have the conversation. So it's just a little bit more, and we will be wrapping up the conversation, the presentation, and then we can have that discussion. And I get you, but there are some things that we have to get through, whether we like it or not. Okay.
Thank you. We just appreciate the opportunity to get everyone on the same page before we continue the discussion. We do want to create continuity and connectivity by filling gaps in the pedestrian and cycling network, such as the Beltline and the Allen Greenway. And we want to connect pedestrians through not only well-designed streets, but also through mid-block connections. And we want to look at ways to make the streets more pedestrian-oriented. Here's a look at option 2. Some potential differences here. Park Avenue. More expensive mid-block connection through the highest density area between Rosebery Square apartments up to Glencairn Avenue, and the pedestrian access to Benner Park from Marlee along Romare Crescent. here's a look at the primary and streetscape improvements overlaid on that we talked about. And here's option 2. Viewmount Avenue becomes a key east-west connection due to greater proposed density in the area east of Allen Road. Shermount Avenue becomes a key north-south connection, and Weatherly Drive is proposed for streetscape improvements to improve connectivity to Marlee Avenue. Our mobility principles were developed in phase 1 and have guided development of the options from a mobility perspective. Our mobility plan for option 1 focuses on circulating people through the community and efficiently. Particularly, we want to make sure people have easy access to Marlee Avenue and to parks and open spaces. In yellow, we're showing where cycling routes could potentially appear, which we need your feedback on. We're making improvements to pedestrian and cyclist circulation. We're improving pedestrian safety with pedestrian safety controls and other safety improvements.
Get the scooters off the road.
Key differences in option 2 include a potential new subway access to Lawrence West Station on Del Park Ave, and a mobility hub that services areas west and east of the Allen equally. The near-term implementation of the Beltline Gap connection. The cycling network plan and implementation includes Marlee Avenue, from Castlefield Avenue to Roselawn Avenue, which is a cycle track, and from Roselawn Avenue to Eglinton Avenue, a bi-directional cycle track. Roselawn Avenue and Elmridge Drive, from Allen Greenway to Marlee Avenue, which is a bi-directional cycle track and multi-use trail. Allen Greenway from Elmridge Drive to Wembley Road, a multi-use trail. And major upgrades of the existing dedicated cycling lanes on Marlee Avenue, from Roselawn Avenue to Lawrence Avenue West. The cycling network plan identifies Marlee Avenue, Eglinton Avenue West, and Lawrence Avenue West as major citywide cycling routes. As directed by City Council, this project is on hold. Is on hold for now, and our current Marlee Glencairn study is supporting it by helping to identify the larger mobility network. Some of the key findings to date are that we're improving access to local destinations, providing connection to the broader cycling network, various route planning options have been explored, and Marlee Avenue and Beltline connection will be vital to providing local and broader access to and from the study area. Principle 4 has helped us has assisted us in developing our land use and build form plans. What are land uses? There are a variety of land use categories outlined in the official plan for mixed use areas, employment areas, and natural areas such as parks and more. They define how land can be developed and planned in a neighborhood. Planners assign these land uses to neighborhoods so that they can function as complete communities with a mix of uses. Here's a look at the land uses for options 1 and 2. The built form plans are coming up, and that's where you'll be able to see more about going there and how high they are. Mixed-use areas support a vibrant mix of residential, commercial, and institutional uses, often located along key corridors and near transit nodes. And this is what you'll see proposed on Marlee in both options. Apartment neighborhoods are residential areas composed of apartment buildings with opportunities for sensitive infill. Core employment areas are designated for industrial, commercial, and office uses to support job growth and economic activity. Here's a look at some of the built form heights that we're proposing. From 45 to 35 to 25 as high-rise and mid-rise 9 to 10, 6, and 4. And leveraging a mix of building heights, density, and forms is needed to accommodate density requirements, provide a diverse housing options, and create a varied and interesting urban fabric. In organizing all this density, we look to provide transitions while achieving those density targets and make the spaces feel, from a scale and comfort perspective, like they're livable. Where we have the greatest density closest to transit, we will transition to lower heights along parts of Marlee and toward existing low-rise neighborhoods on the outskirts of the community. Our built form plans outline where the various built form types and heights will occur. Option 1 focuses high-rise on Lawrence Ave West and near Glencairn Station on the west side and along Marlee. We're proposing mid-rise along the balance of Marlee Ave where there isn't high-rise. And we're building on the existing apartment neighborhoods east of Lawrence West Station. Option 2 provides more high-rise density around Glencairn Station and has a more gentle mid-rise approach on Lawrence Ave West. Apartment neighborhoods have been expanded down to Viewmount Park. Here's a three-dimensional view of option 1. Approved development applications are highlighted in yellow, with a yellow outline. This design is conceptual and will occur over the next 30 years or more. The design is subject to change and to market forces. We're not determining exact unit types such as 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms at this level, but we know that providing a variety of building heights informs that the outcome will be a variety of unit types for people of all ages and of all walks of life. And here's option 2. Option 2 sees expanded high-rise close to transit stations, again leaning on the more of the nodal structure. A more gentle approach of mid-rise on Lawrence Ave West and expanded apartment neighborhoods. Our community-focused services and facilities principle has driven our thinking around community-focused community facilities. We have engaged with community facilities internally at the city, and we intend to provide more information at our next phase early next year. We're working with those departments to determine their needs and how to best support them. These are the typologies of community-focused services and facilities currently within the study boundary. Principle 6, a green and climate resilient neighborhood, has guided us in making sure that the options are in line with our climate resilience key moves. A big part of this is looking at tree canopy in the area. The image on the screen you're seeing is the existing tree canopy within the study boundaries. And here are some of the tree canopy strategies that we're considering. In existing parks, we can reinforce or augment the canopy through protection of mature trees and infill planting. In new parkland expansion areas, we can explore opportunities to improve or expand tree canopy. On streets, we can plant street trees. On new development sites, they'll be required to plant new trees. And along the Allen and Greenway, there is space to plant additional trees. Here's option 1, where you can see the land use, built form, and public realm plans side by side. And option 2.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for your patience. We're going to move into the interactive portion of the session today. There's kind of 2 ways we're going to do that. We have some space for Q&A, for questions from you. And then we also, following those questions, are going to move into focused discussions around 3 key components of the study. So we have here a number of city staff members representing transportation, urban design, parks, whatever sort of concern or issue you have. We have a station where you can voice those concerns directly to the city, give us direct feedback, and we can hear from you. With the Q&A, we want to begin, and I know there's a lot of information to digest. Wrong slide. We want to begin by inviting questions around sort of purposes of this. So the first sort of level of questions we're inviting are questions of clarification about the study itself. So why are we doing this? Where did this come about? What are the timelines? Any questions regarding the study itself that would help ground this conversation and help us understand sort of what's happening here? Yes, go ahead.
High density need. What, you know, I hear this all the time, there's some big high density need. Where did that all come about? Can somebody give us some history of that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. The whole reason the study is happening is because growth is happening. Why is growth happening? What are the forces that are shaping us? And I know some folks in the audience are maybe a little bit more informed about some of the sea pressures that we're under, the market forces, but this is a good opportunity to give some grounding.
Hi there, my name is Melanie. I work in city planning alongside Larry and some of the others in the room. And just in terms of a bit of just to back up and bring us all onto the same page with respect to the density requirements. So all planning in the City of Toronto is under the Provincial Planning Act and the various policy statements that the province sets out from time to time and amends from time to time. So a number of years ago, the province amended the Planning Act and the provincial policy statement saying that any what's called a major transit station area needs to meet a minimum density requirement of 200 people and jobs per hectare within a certain distance of the station. And by station, I mean subway station, LRT station, what we call higher order transit. So that set the city on a course to go and evaluate all of its, what I'm going to use MTSA as a shorthand from now on, major transit station area, and evaluate all of them to determine whether they already meet that minimum density requirement. Some of them did not, Glencairn being one of them. And so that set about the need to study it, determine how we can allow for more density to meet those minimum density requirements. At the same time, as you're well aware, we have a number of development applications that are already proceeding and some of which, as you can see, are already approved. So the purpose of the study is to help us manage that growth in a way that responds to those provincial requirements and directs growth to the places where we as a community want to see them, and also harness that development so that we can start to direct the types of benefits that come out of it, so that we know how many people we're planning for in terms of water sewer infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, parks and recreation, community services and facilities. Because by looking at it holistically, we have a better idea of how many people we can expect over the long term.
Are there any other clarifying questions about the whys and hows of the study? And I'll say my eye landed. Go for it. All right.
When you go along Marlee, you see a lot of notices already. A lot of developers have bought up property in Seaside of 29 stories. How does this study affect what these developers have already purchased? Because those photos about, public realm and how you want to make it a walkable, lively area. Well, if you take a look at the corner of Marlee and Glencairn with that new condo development there, they're building right up to the sidewalk. You can't have any of those photos. It's not a reality on Marlee. I wish it could be. So how does this study affect those current those development plans?
Thank you so much for that question. This is study. The development that you have seen so far didn't have the benefit of a strategy in place. So improvements for segments of Marlee or other streets, improvements to connectivity, all these different elements were not in place. This is a study that will set some of those parameters to guide the negotiations. Now, you all know, many developments can go to the tribunal, and then they can be decided outside our purview. However, having that additional layer of strategy and framework has a weight at the tribunal. You don't always win, but it's better than not having anything. And when you go through the process of negotiation with development as it grows, it's really good to know where you want to direct that enhancement or that setback, or how you coordinate it, that improvements to a particular side of Marlee Street, for example. So it's this project and it's this study that will help us frame that. If you're particularly interested in how Marlee can evolve to really allow for that space and not have the buildings really land at the edge of the property boundary, please come and talk to our team in the public realm, because that's an element of it. So that's one.
Thank you. We are going to have a station dedicated specifically to traffic and mobility issues, and I think the operative word for us is that this is a study, and so we're looking at everything, and it is.
就还来来了这么大，而且从这还来一次，他们管那个谁，他们管不让有的没有。Really can't hear.
May I? I know you are echoing the concern and opinion of, I imagine, a number of people here. And thank you for articulating that concern so clearly. I don't have an answer for you. My colleagues have more of an answer for you. You've been waiting. I'm going to, come forward and we can give you a mic.
Check.
Thank you. So, turn it off. I'm gonna.
It's gonna have to go to the front for that one. They're gonna have to go to the front.
How will that density change over the next 5 years with that idea?
They should have. I could have just set it up right over there. I should have brought my camcorder and tried it. I thought this is a drop-in. This wasn't a drop-in. I went somewhere else first and I came here directly afterward.
Framework to do it. It's not a 5 years time horizon, but yeah, it's
Right now, people over there,
and the process of bringing and changing the density, the layers of improving roads, and there is no easy answer. This is not only Glencairn, it's entire. Not the it's the entire city, to be frank.
My question is, what I saw from the presentation is that you're planning to develop the bicycle infrastructure as opposed to the car infrastructure. So I'm wondering if you are taking into account the car infrastructure as well.
All infrastructure, and part of this discussion, there is interest and need to improve the cycling infrastructure, obviously the walking infrastructure. Streets need to serve many different things, and you're seeing that the trees are being planted, and it's that coordination that needs to take place. But we need street trees, we need stormwater management strategies in the streets, we need enhancement for your cycling, enhancement to pedestrian on top of cars, and obviously we have the bus system on Marlee, right? We have proximity to, hopefully, when the Eglinton cross down, and two other stations, transit stations. So it's an ecosystem. There's a lot of vehicular travel because we are also at the gateway to get to the entire region using the 401, right? So there's that recognition that it's not everybody's going downtown. There's also people going outside the downtown, and that requires that. So it's all those layers, and the table that I will be dealing with mobility has these layers. There are different strategies on how we rethink cycling, rethink the trail system on the alley and the belt line, and obviously transit and vehicular movement, improving crosswalks and things like that. So they are all part and parcel
of this whole ecosystem of mobility.
We have time for one or two more questions before we transition to the table discussions.
Glencairn-Marlee is not affordable.
Bingo.
That's like, I mean, these towers, I don't think they're gonna, there's a process called gentrification, and that happened at Regent Park. The whole Dayton, multiple neighborhoods, the developers came, they built those towers, buildings, everything, guess what happened? People who lived there, they got pushed out. And this was gonna happen with Marley. And I would hate to see that happen. I'm sorry, I mean, this is not, like we all live here. Like, I would stay here, I don't wanna leave because housing costs went so high up. That I have to give up the place where I grew up or whatever, right? So in terms of affordability, I guess, like you guys said, like the developers can go to LTE, and most likely now, with the first landscape, they will win. So, I guess, like, what's the purpose? That defeats the purpose of the investment here is doing everything for us. And I guess everyone's thinking about that. However, that builds the purpose. It defeats the purpose of public consultation because whenever we come up here together as a group, then why don't we defeat it like those buildings? Beautiful pictures. But they won't be asking for some other folks, not us.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Thank you. Thank you. Very good questions. And so on the transit front, there are other transit strategies that the city is looking for. The bus, the high-speed bus buffering and on buffers. The reality is that, investment in either transit networks needs to happen. Obviously, Eglinton is not, I don't know when it's going to go, but Finch open, which was amazing. We need 10 more lines. That's the reality, and this is not a Glencairn problem. It's a city-wide problem, a regional problem. So we, from the Glencairn perspective, we try to enable and to upgrade and to think of how the current street system can help transition. That's one thing, but investment needs to happen, and we don't have that answer for the Glencairn. Now, for affordability, you bring a very good question, and within the MPSA areas, there is a requirement for a certain number of units to be affordable. And that's one little element that we can use to secure that level of affordability. Now, there's a definition for it, and this is not social housing, right? The beauty of plan to a certain degree is that in those negotiations now the city, when they sit with the developer or they are at the tribunal, there is that push and pull of saying, well, we need you to do X, Y, Z. We need to improve the neighborhood in this manner, in this corridor. But there is a plan and a strategy. You know why you're asking for something and where you put it. And we don't have it right now in Glencairn. That's one of the problems of the street that comes in, comes out, and it creates that bottleneck, right? So we need the plan to be implemented. So anyway, thank you for the question on affordability.
Check. All right. Hi. How's everybody doing tonight? I've been in the area pretty much since I was born. I attended the education in the area. I've been involved in the area, and I don't know if a lot of people remember 2013 when there was a large flood in that area, and a lot of your basements flooded out. Unluckily, I was one of them, and a lot of my neighbors, a lot of people on Wenderley, Majestic Court, all over that area. I remember everybody had a mattress outside. And it was a horrible time for all of us, and fighting the insurance company and going through all the nonsense of getting our houses back there. Well, I was able to get a meeting with the city at that time. So I dug in to find out about the way that the water runs in our area. Now, in 2013, when that happened, I had the luck to speak to Mr. Cole's son, I believe at that time. He came to my home. I had him there, I had the city planner there, and I had the person with the map of the water and how it runs in our area. Now, what happened was, at that time, about 10 to 15 years previous to that, the city was supposed to put a holding tank at Ingram. Ingram, where the garbage dump is now, not the city garbage dump, which used to be York Steel. He's there, so he might know what I'm talking about. That never happened. We are in a floodplain. In order to repair that problem, you have to fix, you want to add density? I just flooded again the last time. 7 of my neighbors flooded. People on Winter flooded. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to all of you who mortgaged and live in this area. Remember these words. The insurance company came to me and said, you live in a floodplain. One more time, you're not getting flood insurance for your basement. Now, for those of you that have finished your basement, and now you are unable to purchase that insurance, cost you $100,000 or $150,000, $200,000 to repair your basement every time that happens. Why are we talking about adding anything when we're still flooding and no one's helping us? And the insurance companies don't care, and the city doesn't care, and they want to charge us. They raised our property tax 11%, and now our mayor's talking about a 3% raise for rain tax. Because they're saying, oh, well, we just don't have the money to fix the infrastructure under the ground. Well, how are you gonna add this? How is that possibly gonna stop our houses from flooding? Ask the people, constituents in your area in charge of what they're gonna do to ensure that you don't end up without a home in your retiree. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. It's a lot of detail for us to dig into. We are going to transition to topic station discussions. We have 3 stations. Yes, I know, I'm just giving a bit of a buffer. For those who have questions about development, density, what that means for the quality of the community, the environment, we have Station 1. For those who are concerned, have questions about mobility, impacts on traffic, transition to a more transit-oriented neighborhood, we have Station 2. And then Station 3 is for questions related to parks and open spaces. We have city staff from each of those departments here to answer questions. We also have, you'll probably see on your tables, black binders. These binders include all of the studies that we've been doing. We are looking at flood-prone issues. We're looking at impacts on traffic. We're looking at impacts of shadows on new development. You'll find the results of those early studies in these packages that you can dig through and that you can ask us questions about. Before we transition, we have Councillor Cole, who's joined us this evening. And I'm going to invite Councillor Cole to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Where do you want me to go back? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is that good? Okay, just want to say one thing. We got this study group together for one purpose, okay? To basically have a buffer or a defense against the incredible anticipated density that's coming to this area. I can't believe how rude you are to this study group. And they're... Again, you just showed again. Again, I could just... Again, the reason why the study is taking place is because of what we're facing here right now. And that is unprecedented changes in legislation by the province of Ontario that started 7 years ago, which basically took away local planning control from the community, from the city. So therefore, this group of experts, along with city staff, are trying to build a case, quantify the need for infrastructure, like sewers, like hydro, like social services, and you have to quantify that by these experts if you have any chance of stopping what the province is trying to do. If we don't have them doing their studies, you've got zero chance of stopping any of this. Zero chance. So just keep that in mind. They are here basically to help the community build. Just listen for a change. maybe you should listen for a change. Just listen. Just listen. Okay.
Mike, I think it's time to retire now. Mike, it's time to retire.
So again, if I could just continue. So we have to have this expert information if we are to have a case to basically stop these development proposals, which are coming not only to this part of the city, but the whole province and the city of Toronto is facing the same pressures. So therefore, with this study being done, we have a chance to basically say we don't want or we cannot sustain this type of high density development in this community. Because if we don't have this type of background information, we will be rolled over, because what happens in all cases, like here at the corner of Claver and Dufferin, 8 years ago they approved 8 stories. Okay, right at the corner, you know the old post office? 8 stories. It wasn't approved by the city. You're wrong. You're wrong. It went to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Okay? The city went to the Ontario Land Tribunal, opposed the application at the tribunal, along with some residents. Okay? The city went to the tribunal because the community did not want the 8 stories. So you know what the tribunal, the provincial government tribunals did? They approved 33 stories. Because the community did not want the 8, and we said, we'll discuss the 8. Instead, the tribunal just ruled for 33. So that's the type of example I've given you. If we don't have this type of expert information from these consultants, we will not have a chance. Secondly, the good thing, bad thing, good thing, is that the condominium market has collapsed. So that gives us more time, okay? Because they thought they would be building very quickly. They thought that the people were going to be buying condos, buying purposeful rental. They are not. So therefore, the dreams of the developers was that they would be building all these things, people would be buying, but that has totally stopped. So some of these proposals, we already have a number of bankruptcies at the corner of Bathurst and Wilson, the southwest corner. You know that corner? There was a development application for 30 stories. That company just went under. And there's nothing being built there because there's nobody buying. So I put that context into place because that gives us time. So the applications that come in, and some are even being approved by the tribunal, they may never get built because nobody's buying. So that is, again, bad for the development industry, but it also gives us time here in this area, and that's why we need the quantification of the sewers we need, the traffic issues we got to deal with. We need all these to be done. But if the province, who's claiming they have nothing to do with this, they say it's all the city. If the province doesn't hear from you, because they've had 3 majority elections, many of you voted for them 3 times, majority elections, nobody ever brought this issue up in those provincial elections. So they think, oh well, we're not taking the heat, the city's taking the heat. It's all Mike Cole's fault. So when they hear what's happening in these meetings, they say, hey, that's great, they're all yelling and screaming at Mike Cole, they're all yelling and screaming at the consultants. We aren't going to take any blame. So what I've got a handout for you. Unless you start to be heard, unless you start to call, visit, email your provincial member, unless you call or email your Minister of Municipal Affairs, let them know that you do not want these developments here. They will do them because they say, well, big deal, the city gets the blame and we're scot-free. So that's why if you want to get something done, you have to work with our city staff, you have to work with the consultants to build a case where you can go, and if it goes to tribunal or not, but at least letting the province know, stop, and we've passed a motion at Toronto City Council that says we want to pause on development in the Marlee area. We want to pause, a stop until you heard from the people, until we complete this study. We said pause. Now, the problem is this, none of you have supported my call for this stop. How many written emails or phone and asked for the pause?
You don't answer. You don't answer. You don't answer. Your office doesn't answer.
Again, you have to, again, you can yell at you, just stop. Just stop. Just stop.
Maybe they sent it to the wrong email.
So if enough people
she always
start
answers.
to call,
So
email, text, visit, God forbid, visit the NPP and say, we don't like this development, you have a chance. But up until now, they say they're getting no calls, no visits.
Very far
You have, how many have emailed their NPP about this?
And I apologize.
That's good. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's just a one typo. That's all it's
Okay. But if everybody in this room were to make a phone call, even leave a message that you're not happy about these developments, if you emailed and said that, it would really have an effect. Up until now, too few have done that because they think they have fooled you all. They think it's the city that's going to take the blame, we are not. So that's why I urge you to support my motion I passed 3 months ago with City Council saying we want a pause on this development. We don't want all this development to take place. Hold on. And we've asked the developers to do the same thing. We said, don't proceed and don't go to the Ontario Land Tribunal until this study is done. So this study gives us that ammunition we need. Without this study, and unless we work with this group here, and unless you start calling, visiting, and letting the provincial representatives know that you're not happy with all this density, because as you know, we said, from the beginning we said, sure, if there's a 10-story building, or an 8-story, or 20 stories, whatever, but 20, 30, 40, 50 now. They're up to 50 now, because nobody has complained to the province about the 50 stories. Nobody. They're saying, oh, we're not getting any calls, and it's only Mike Cole that's complaining. So this is what's happened because people have not been given that kind of advice and information. So I'm here again saying to you, I have hope, because I know we stood in this room, about 10 years ago, when there was a proposal. What was happening 10 years ago in this room that we did 10 years ago? You remember? There's a proposal to build condos on this site and demolish the Columbus Center. And I know a lot of you were not here when we had the fight, but we stopped it. We stopped the development because we all got together. We didn't yell and scream, but we all met, sent letters, emails. We even walked around the whole block, and we stopped that development proposal back 10 years ago. This center still stands because we were all together. And we could do the same thing again if people, again, work together with these people that are here to help you, and not yell and scream at them because they're trying to get the proper information so they can say, you can't expect Marley to work with another 20 condos. Traffic-wise, all these things, they have to document that. So they're ready to do that, but you've got to give them the information and you've got to give them your support. And the last thing I'll say, they are looking at options because they're tied to a certain extent because the province has already passed 10 pieces of legislation. So they have no pressure on it. But they were saying there's choices. You know, they talk about choice, option 1, option 2. If you really believe that you want to see more moderate development, you want to see some housing, but you want to see more mid-rise and not the 20, 30, 40, 50 stories, you've got to say that and support that as one of your options. But you got to be very clear about that. And you have the right to do that only in this forum. Okay? As a group, if you all agree that you want moderate development, then you have this group of experts that's supporting what you are asking for. You need them to work with you to say we want option 3. But you have to be together. Now, some of you may not want option 3. You may want high towers, okay? But that's why these people here are very important because if any of this goes, as they do go, to the provincial land tribunal, the province doesn't allow you to go and speak there. That's one of the laws they changed. You cannot go. Only the lawyers from the city can go, and the planners could go to that tribunal and make a case. So therefore, it's so important that you give them the support, the ammunition, because unfortunately, you cannot participate once it goes to the tribunal. Because what happens with every application, after 90 days or 120, developers, sometimes they don't even have meetings, they go directly to the tribunal and get approved. So that's why we are also trying to say, please, we don't want anything decided at the tribunal until we've had this study. That's in my motion. No tribunal decisions until the study is complete. And no support for any of this density until the study is complete. So I need your support to ask for this pause and not for this to go on, because what they're doing is I've got 2 of these meetings every week, where they're trying to jam this thing through, but we need this pause. But it's not going to happen until you support that call. You don't even have to mention my name, but just say, hey, listen, province, we need a pause. Wait till the study is done. So that's why the study is so important. Did you hand out those? Okay, anyways. Thank you. Oh, anyways, listen, I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate the frustration, and I appreciate what you're going through, but remember, if we're together and not pointing fingers and yelling and screaming, we'll get nowhere if you yell and scream. But if you work together with this group here, and we get a good, strong case, and as for that pause, we're just saying, pause it, stop it, until we do the study at least, okay?
Councillor Cole, I do have one question, if I may.
Yeah.
And it dovetails on something the gentleman over there was talking about floodplain. So, with all the deregulation from the province, specifically conservation authorities, and one part that I think a lot of people are being blindsided by, is in the realm of floodplains, there is a lot of controversy over developing the greenbelt, which is a big sponge. What level of recourse does the city have for flooding that it's just going to continue to get worse and worse, not just in this community, across the entire city of Toronto? We're a basin. What level of recourse do we have at the city level back to the province on effectively damages that are coming? Like, you fought to protect the greenbelt, and I respect you dearly, but he's fighting to pour concrete through it. It's a natural sponge. We have no chance on flood control in the entire city, let alone this community.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and the people that yell and scream at me certainly never supported the fact that I spent 5 years of my life creating the green belt. But that was a very, very difficult challenge, and he's making fun of the green belt. But I think it's very serious that's one of the first things we raised with the developers and we raised with city staff. There is no sewer infrastructure right now, and there's going to be impossible capacity if we build all these buildings. So that's one of the strongest arguments we're making, is for sewer and water infrastructure that is deficient. And in fact, in a couple of the developments, there's 3 of the developer groups that are a bit, they got the message. They have told the province and the city they have put money aside to build extra sewer infrastructure. They've already committed about $6 million because they know they're very vulnerable on that point. So that is a serious concern, is the sewer infrastructure, along with hydro infrastructure, along with the transportation infrastructure, because as you know, the big problem with all of this is the fact the province made a dramatic change in legislation on planning.
Yep.
They said that if you're within 800 meters of a subway station, you can build whatever you want. So therefore, when that was passed by the province, nobody objected, because you know why? They said, oh yeah, we need housing near transit. But the public didn't understand. They're talking about not just housing, they're talking about towers.
Yeah.
5, 6 towers, 53 stories. So people were sort of fooled into thinking, yes, we're all in favor of housing. But now, when they realize, hey, listen, they're building 5, 6, 40-story buildings around the subway station, that's where people got fooled by the cry for housing, 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 housing. And then, as someone mentioned earlier, the interesting thing is, the province does not allow any affordable housing in these new condos or apartments. That's against provincial law. You cannot have, the city tried to have a law, it's called inclusionary zoning, that said for every building there should be 20% affordable. Mm-hmm. The province said, no, the developers can't afford it. So that was a law passed that you voted for when you re-elected the Ford government. Okay, so that's what happened, because nobody objected to that change. So there's no affordable housing allowed in any of these developments. So that was a critically sad situation. We lost even the ability to even have some affordable in the condo development. Yes? Yeah, okay, we'll just, yeah.
To support your motion to pause about
Yeah.
until the end of the study. I know that the market Glencairn study is going to be completed in May, but I also know that you're going to do some infrastructure studies, which will probably go beyond May. So are you supporting the motion to hold off on development until the infrastructure?
Until the whole study is complete, because the study has two parts to it. They can give you the details on it. So we're doing one preliminary phase, because the other thing we were worried about, we were rushing it because we said if we don't get this in, they're just going to approve everything. So their first phase, and then they'll come to second phase. So we're saying wait till the whole study is complete. And I said, plus, what's the hurry? You can't sell anything. Nobody's going to buy your condos, even if you build them. In fact, some of them, as I said, have gone bankrupt already. So we're saying the market is there, that is collapsed. We need the study, we need the infrastructure, so what's the hurry? But we need you to say that and let them know that you're supportive of a pause. Say, yeah, you can build the housing, but please wait until we have some realistic idea of what schools we need, what we do about traffic here, what we do about sewers. Look, we won't need a new police station. We'll need a double-sized police station, and we told the province that, listen, you're going to have to build another police station. Oh, no, that's okay. So these are the arguments we're making for the pause. And they can give details of it, but we need you to support and work with. I know that it's hard to understand because there's been so many complex pieces of legislation. The last thing I'll say, even 2 months ago, here's the latest thing that was passed. Bill 17. Bill 17. That they voted for, your MPP voted for. It said, shadow studies no longer should be considered in any development application approvals. Not even shadow studies can be considered now because the Bill 17. Bill after bill gets passed where they keep restricting people's right to have a say, and they keep making it easier for development. And all the bills are called building faster, housing faster. The ironic thing is the province of Ontario, with all its changes, is the last in Canada building housing because the market has collapsed. But anyways, thank you for listening. I appreciate your attention because it is, again, a very difficult topic. But on the other hand, I do really appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.
We have about 20 minutes remaining for the session. Enough time. We're going to invite city staff from various departments to come to the station tables to receive more focused feedback and comments from the public. We have, again, 3 stations. Station 1 over here, density, development, public life. Station 2, mobility, traffic impacts. And Station 3, parks, open spaces, and environment.